Tottenham Hotspur have backed their man. Despite a run of results which has seen Tottenham win just one game in their last 7, that being the 4-0 victory over Manchester City a few weeks ago, the club have declared that their manager, Ange Postecoglu, is not under any pressure and that they're going to be backing him in the upcoming January transfer window. Now, while this is going to divide many fans, because there is a large portion of the Tottenham fan base that are Ange in, but there are rumblings of malcontent towards the Australian icon, as this brand of attack first, think never style of football is providing too few moments of excitement and joy compared to the moments of misery. At the time of recording, Tottenham sit just 11th place in the Premier League table, having won just 6 of the 15 games played so far. And while they are at times playing some of the best attacking football in England and possibly even Europe, they are incredibly leaky at the back, conceding 19 league goals this season. Not awful per se, but some of those goals they've conceded have been to sides who should not be getting a result against Tottenham, including Ipswich and Crystal Palace. So with this in mind, I've had a look around and determined who I believe would be an ideal replacement should the club part ways with Ange at some point during the season. And today we're going to look at that man's tactics, some statistics around the Tottenham club to determine why this man would be suitable for the job. Now, while there are several managers being rumoured to potentially take over at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, including Kieran McKenna and Thomas Frank, there is one man who would be a perfect next step for Tottenham in their quest to win their first silverware since 2008, and that man is former Borussia Dortmund manager Edin Terzic. Now, while Postecoglu isn't over the hill in terms of his managerial career, Edin Terzic is just 42 years of age and already has a wealth of experience under his belt. When he was just 28 years of age, he was a scout and assistant coach in Dortmund's youth setup, reporting to then first-team manager Jurgen Klopp, from whom he credits having learnt a great deal from during his time in Germany. Following this, he made the move to Besiktas to work under their manager Slaven Bilic from 2013 to 2015, before he made the transition over to the Premier League with the Croatian to work as his assistant once again, this time at West Ham, which he departed following the sacking of Bilic in 2017. Following this, he made the return to Borussia Dortmund after gaining his UEFA Pro licence from the FA in 2018 and has taken up multiple roles at the club, including assistant coach, the newly made position of technical director, which was made specifically for him, and eventually first team manager, which we're going to focus on today. Now, what have we learned from this first section? Well, the man has worked with some fantastic managers, including Jurgen Klopp and Slaven Bilic, who have all clearly had a trust in him, showing his professionalism in his work. He has previous experience in the Premier League during a stint at West Ham and has a wide understanding of all aspects of a football club's maintenance and day-to-day operations, following his multiple previous roles in Dortmund, a value which cannot be overlooked given the way the modern game is going. But does that translate to the pitch as a manager? Well, during his first spell as interim manager, Borussia Dortmund won the DFB Pokal in a 4-1 victory over RB Leipzig, with him recording 20 wins in his first 32 games in charge. A few years later, he returned to the role as manager on a permanent basis, where he went on to win 66.94% of his 124 games in charge of the club, missing out on the Bundesliga title on the final day of the 22-23 season on goal difference, and also reaching the 23-24 Champions League final, narrowly losing to Real Madrid. So this shows he's got experience managing at a high level. But what is it about his tactics that would make him ideal for Tottenham? At Borussia Dortmund, during the build-up phase, Terzic liked to decide to use the standard 4-2-3-1 or a traditional 4-3-3, focusing primarily on a possession-based style of football, which the vast majority of sides in England try to utilise nowadays, and he did it to a great level of success, with his title-challenging Dortmund side of the 22-23 season averaging around 58% possession across the campaign, which is only less than Manchester City and Liverpool this season, but it's the same amount as Tottenham Hotspur. He achieves this by playing with a back four, utilising expansive fullbacks to maintain space and options for his defenders to look for, which bodes well for the likes of Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie, who rank 3rd and 5th for progressive carries and 1st and 3rd for progressive passes, as Ange Postecoglu often utilises his fullbacks as a first form of attack, meaning that the transition into Edin Terzic's style of play would not be too jarring for the defenders. And if you look at their average positioning this season, you'll see just how well they'd fit into this new system. Now, one thing that Terzic Terzic wants is a single pivot in his midfield, with them operating behind two number 8s, slightly higher up the pitch, who are positioned in the half spaces so they can combine with these high and expansive fullbacks, creating a triangle on the wide areas of the pitch. This is made to ensure they escape pressure from the opposition, and so they have the option of inverting and putting pressure on the opponent's centre-backs in the middle of the pitch, thus creating more passing options in the middle, which benefits the two number 8s, making everything come full circle. You can't help but think that in this formation, someone like Yves Bissouma or Pepe Sarr would benefit massively. Having that one single pivot in midfield would allow that vast plethora of attacking players to do what they do best higher up the pitch, and we will get onto that shortly, because during the build-up, Terzic has shown an ability to interchange between a low build-up and a high build-up, and this is something that Postecoglu is heavily criticised for, with him insisting on a consistent high line and build-up regardless of the situation they are playing against, as evidenced by the 4-3 victory for Chelsea against Tottenham a few days ago. He uses the 4-3-3 formation during the low build-up and transitions his side into a 3-2-5 during the high build-up to create an extra layer of defence for the side, and with the fast defenders in the Spurs team like Romero and Van de Ven especially, this would be extremely effective. When his side is in the high build-up, they operate with 4 central midfielders, 2 holding and 2 attacking. This creates more options in the centre and less space between the players. Terzic likes this because he prioritises playing through the middle. He needs one player high and wide to pull apart the back line, while the rest create numerical advantages in the midfield areas. This builds good conditions in defensive transitions, allowing more players to press when they lose the ball. And another purpose for keeping many players in the middle is to shorten the distance between them. This means the length of passes will naturally decrease, which shortens the length of time between them. It means the opposition players will have less time to push up and press. This allowed this Dortmund team more time in control, which is something Tottenham fans are crying out for with regards to this team. This season, several players have struggled with the fast and aggressive approach of the Ange system, often finding themselves in situations where they looked panicked and unable to find a pass to relieve the pressure. Well, that wouldn't be an issue under Terzic, who has a massive ambition to maintain possession while keeping a fast-paced tempo, similar to what we've seen this season under Arne Slot. Now, a massive aspect of Dortmund's high build-up is to keep a high back line. This helps in the counter-press because they get closer to the centre. Having more players close to the centre who can win the ball back makes it difficult for the opposition to recycle possession. And this will be a massive benefit, especially for someone like I mentioned earlier, Yves Bissouma, who's made the 4th most tackles on the Tottenham squad this season. And it would also benefit Rodrigo Bentancur when he comes back from his suspension, as he ranks 5th for tackles in the squad and joint 1st for interceptions. Furthermore, the high back line shortens the distance between players, shortening the time and length of the passes and preventing the opposition from pushing up their defence, which for players like Dragusin, who's made 4 errors leading to shots at his own goal, would be a dream, with the emphasis being on more relief for the defence from the constant pressure. Now, with regards to attack, Dortmund had a big emphasis of attacking in behind and utilising early through balls into the other team's defensive space. The attackers would constantly make runs in behind when the midfielders or defenders have the ball, and this constant threat prevents the opposition from playing with a high back line and closing the space between the lines, meaning that midfield dominance we talked about before is in full effect, because instead they have to drop the back line and protect the space in behind, opening it up in the middle for those players to exploit. With regards to the attacking aspect of this system, there is many Tottenham players who benefit from this brand of football, Dominic Solanke being one who at times this season has seen his position on the pitch deeper than he would like, and seeing him score just 5 Premier League goals this season, but recording the 2nd most shots and the highest shots on target in the Tottenham squad, giving him a percentage of 51.6%. Another massive aspect of Dortmund's high build-up was their ability to create numerical advantages against the opposition's defensive line. These numerical advantages in the box force the defending team to make decisions and leave some players open, creating even more space for attacking players, with their front 5 naturally becoming numerically superior against the back 4. Now, despite all of Tottenham's weaknesses at the back, it's undeniable that they possess one of the most exciting attacking lines in the Premier League. We've said it before, and we've seen it time and time again, just how devastating Tottenham's front line can be, especially on the counter-attacking situations where they're able to overload the opposition defence. And with the likes of Son, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, all ranking in the top 5 in the Tottenham squad for progressive passes and carries into the box, as well as ranking in the top 20 for counter-attacking runs in the Premier League, is no denying they benefit from this system. Terzic was known for his desire to create attacking threats no matter what the situation was. They'd utilise overlaps from the fullbacks. Sometimes they tried to overload the opposition's box with them trying to exploit space, but they just found any different way of doing it depending on who the opposition was they faced. Postecoglu has been heavily criticised for this, but Terzic has an ability to rotate his squad. He has an ability to change a style of play, and that's something that Tottenham fans have been crying out for. The quick tempo of football and high back line is not too dissimilar to what we see at Tottenham, but there's more of a structure in place. They're able to close down space in the middle given their domination of the ball, and allows defence from the front. The back line isn't as exposed and they aren't as easy to play through. Of course, he'd need 1 or 2 players to perfectly fit his system, but there's no denying that style of football would keep things exciting for Tottenham, whilst also giving them a defensive rigidity that they've lacked at points sorely this season. Let me know what you guys think on this video. Do you think that Terzic should be a good replacement for Ange Postecoglu, or should Tottenham stick with their man? Please make sure to click like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.